to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is a very special guest. We have our school board chair, Dr. Noel Gabriel, who's going to be here to talk about our School Board Advisory Council. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you, Mrs. Tanner. Pleasure to be here today.
I am glad to have you here to talk about something that was created that is your baby and that you want to really get our community and parents involved in, which is our School Board Advisory Council. But first, let us all know, what is a School Board Advisory Council?
Well, the board has four advisory committees. They are the Student Health Advisory Committee, Gifted Advisory Committee, Special Education Advisory Committee, and Career and Technical Education Advisory Committee. And they function exactly as they say, to advise the board. They can advise the board on upcoming policies that the board is vetting. They can bring issues to the board that are surfacing within the community as it pertains to each of the communities. They can help us with our strategic planning. They can also get information out to the community that we pass within the board.
So why did you create this? Did someone say, I want to give you information about special ed or about gifted?
Well, when I went back and started doing some research, I learned that the Virginia School Board Association started to put forth a policy like this in 1974. And that's when our school board adopted it, 1974. So it's actually by Virginia code that each school board has advisory committees to the board. And we have four of them.
Wow, we've been doing this for what? Since 1974 in some capacity?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So how can someone get involved on these councils?
Well, it's really easy. We have a website right now that they can come to the website, or they can fill out an application if they come to our school board administration building. They can complete the application, turn it in, and then the board has a process that we vet our community members. We want to make sure that we're inclusive of all of our parents and stakeholders, and that we have good representation across our area. And it's really as simple as completing the application, vetting the application, and then the board discussing it with the superintendent and then taking action.
So ultimately, what are you hoping to accomplish with this School Board Advisory Council?
We want to gather as much information as we can from our community members, because even though we are a board that tries to be as involved in the community as possible, we still cannot get those real tangible examples of those parents. For example, parents who have students who are gifted, parents who have students who have special needs going through an IEP process, students who are trying to navigate through a career technical education. We really need to hear those items as it relates personally to each of our students and parents in the community, and that allows us to do it, and it allows us to make, most importantly, the most informed decisions for our students.
All right, so what have you learned so far from having this council?
Well, we've learned a great deal. Our committees are just fantastic. They really provide a lot of good information to the board. For example, the Gifted Committee provides a plan that we review. They help to advise us on the budget, staffing. For example, the Student Health Advisory Committee, we've challenged talked about topics such as recess in our schools. We've talked about different medical needs of our students and whether or not we have certain formulations of medications in a school if a student were to be injured. And so it's really a very important information that we have to consider that basically gets filtered through this committee, and then the best information comes up to the board.
Yeah, because later in the show we're going to have GIAC, SHIAC, SHAC, and CTE on the show, so parents in the community can learn more about these particular committees and a part of this council. So tell me, are you planning to expand this council?
Well, what I'd really like to do right now is focus on the four that we have and make sure that the process that we have from application all the way to input to the board is very succinct and streamlined. Once we have that process in place and perfect, then if we want to expand those committees, then we can. We do have some task forces that are up and functioning right now, and those do still need some work. We have an educational planning task force, and we'd really like to get the equity task force up and running. running. So those are two areas that are not necessarily advisory committees, but areas that the board would definitely like to see up and running in the near future.
Okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity to pitch these advisory councils.
Okay.
I want you to tell the parents in the community why they should become involved.
I think that as a parent, one of the most important things that you can do for your child is to advocate on their behalf. And if you are participating in an advisory committee, that is an excellent way to let your voice be heard directly to board members through this opportunity. And then you also have the opportunity to network with other parents who are in similar situations. And in the end, the best outcomes are going to be brought forth to the board, and then we're all working in the best interest for the students.
Right, and so we're happy that you all have a website that they can go to under the school board webpage and click on School Board Advisory Council. They can apply for any one of those four and submit their application, and then we're going to be doing what? Choosing in what, is it July and December or twice a year?
Twice a year. We're still working out that process, but definitely we're going to have rolling applications for members who maybe can't make the commitment. And it is a commitment. There are meetings that they attend. There's homework assignments that they might be given so that they can read up on the policies and whatnot. But basically we're going to be taking applications in two bundles, and then for members who maybe can't make the commitment for life situations that come up, we'll be having rolling applications. But we really want parents involved, especially if they have a keen interest in that topic.
Great. Well, we're definitely going to be sharing information on our website and through social media and through your website about this, the school board's website. So thank you for coming on the show today, and we're excited to hear from the other council groups later on today.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. We have two very special guests with us here today. We have Carla Stead. She is the Senior Coordinator of Gifted Education Services. And we have Dr. Joy Richardson. Congratulations. She's Assistant Director of Learning Support and Special Education Services. And you both are going to be here to discuss our school board advisory committees for gifted and special education services. Welcome, ladies, to NPS Now.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you on the show. We had Dr. Gabriel, our chair of the school board, on earlier to talk about what is a school board advisory council. And you guys have two committees that are part of that council. So first, Joy, I'm going to ask you, tell me about the advisory council that you're in charge of and the purpose of that advisory council.
Okay. I serve as the liaison to the Special Education Advisory Committee, also known as SEAC. And the purpose of SEAC is to work with a community. So the members of SEAC include, we have a teacher representative, we have parents of students with disabilities, we have individuals with disabilities, and members of the community. And we all come together to review the current policies and procedures that are in place for special education services and provide recommendations to the school board. Just a little bit of guidance, taking into account the voices of all of the members that we have, as well as just the members of our community and all of our stakeholders. So the key role really is to give advisement to the school board on some of the priorities that we feel would be the most important, or really that the committee feels would be the most important for the upcoming school year.
That's great. What about you, Carla?
So I am the liaison for the Gifted Education Advisory Committee, also known as GIAC. And really, you could just plug in my role to everything Dr. Richardson just said, except we advocate for our gifted or high ability students throughout the district. And we work with the community, we work with administration, and our main objective is to advocate for the appropriate gifted education services to the school board to make sure that they're getting what they need.
Right. So Joy, who could serve on your committees?
So our committee must be composed of primarily either parents of children with disabilities or either individuals with disabilities. But as mentioned, we have one teacher member that we're allowed to have, and then we have representatives of community agencies that serve, again, our community of individuals with disabilities. So, but they do have to be residents of Norfolk with very few exceptions.
Carla, who could serve on your committee?
Again, very similar to Dr. Richardson, the community. You don't have to be a parent necessarily of a gifted student, but you do need to have a passion and a need to advocate for those students within Norfolk, and community, parents, administrators. We're open opportunity.
So what's the requirements or the process to serve or become involved in your committee? What do they need to do?
So for the Special Education Advisory Committee, we would like for anyone who's interested to come out to a meeting, to meet everyone, to learn more about what the committee does, and to participate. If they're able to participate in more than one meeting, that's great. But from there, we would make a recommendation to the school board for approval for membership.
Very similar, just put the word gifted student or high ability identified student, same thing. Some of our parents could be potentially members of both if they're twice exceptional, and they certainly are welcome to be both. In fact, we have one or two that are members of both GIAC and SEAC.
That's interesting. I did not know that you could belong to both
Sure.
committees. Yeah. So what are the term limits, Joy, for your committee?
So right now, members are approved for a 3-year term. Then they're able to reapply for an additional 3-year term. And at this time, after they've served 2 consecutive 3-year terms, we do ask that they sit out for 1 year before reapplying.
What about for GIAC?
So according to our bylaws, they are appointed for a 3-year term, but our goal is not to, shift them out after 3 years. If they are, diligently serving the committee and they want to continue advocating, we welcome that historical context, and so they can be reappointed for another 3-year term, pending school board approval, of course.
And I'm going to ask both of you this. Oh, go ahead, Joy. You had something you want to share?
I just want to add that even if someone is not officially a member of the committee, anyone is welcome to attend. So the meetings are open to the public. So we often have members who may have served for 3 years or 6 years who continue to participate year after year, and we absolutely welcome that.
Yeah. So if people, go ahead, Carla.
Well, I want to second that too, so I don't want to say that if you're not a member, you can't participate. In fact, that's one way we try to advocate to become a member, is we welcome parents or anybody interested in learning about it to come, especially to our October 1st meeting, where we're going to make an invite to the whole community.
So what are some feedback or ideas that you all have received from people serving on these advisory committees?
So each year, the committee puts together formal recommendations to the school board. That actually can be done anytime throughout the year, but right now the committee is focused on ensuring that that happens at least once a year. And what the committee does is reviews public comment. So at each meeting, we have an opportunity for public comment. We collect those and make sure that a response is given to that parent or community member in a timely manner. And then the committee members also get together because throughout the year they're reviewing policies and practices and services for students with disabilities. And so they put together a nice compilation of ideas that they present to the school board. So the last letter that was presented to the school board included things such as additional training for case managers for students with disabilities in the educational setting, in the classroom setting, additional outreach to families to let them know what services are available for students with disabilities, not just in the school setting, but also in the community. Reopening the Parent Resource Center was another recommendation, and then just continuing to review those policies and practices. Another recommendation was for the school board to consider hiring some credentialed staff, such as a BCBA or additional social workers or psychologists to aid in some of the additional mental health needs or other, more extensive needs that children may be exhibiting that a case manager may not be able to handle alone.
Yeah, so what are some of the feedback or ideas for GIAC?
So GIAC, similar process. We evolved throughout the year looking at our gifted local plan, which is probably considered like a constitution. I would say it's a living document that all our services are based off of. It is what holds us accountable as a district to our community, and it is there for public viewing. It is on our website. It is on Norfolk Public Schools website. So we use that as a reference point to see, are we following what we say we're doing in our local plan with fidelity? And so at the end of the year, we put together what we see are loopholes or things that we certainly acknowledge what's working, but things that need improvement, and we make those recommendations. As she says, our main goal is to be an advocate for these gifted kids, especially that sometimes maybe get taken for granted or maybe not as high on the priority. And so we really want to make sure that we are their voice loud and clear. So communication is a big point of reference. What we just want that feedback from the school board, from administrators, to know that they hear us and they are serving our gifted kids to the best of our ability.
And what's so great now is under the school board's website, there is a School Board Advisory Council tab. Well, individuals can go, click on it, and see information about all 4 advisory committees, and also click on each one and apply. So quickly, what would you tell a potential committee member the importance of joining your committees?
I will tell them that this is your voice. This is your opportunity to have a voice. If you have a passion about just improving services for students with disabilities and students in general, because we, of course, do a lot of, we offer a lot of support for students even before they may be found eligible for special education services. And so if you have a passion for improving the services and supports for students, this is a chance for you to have a voice and to be the change that you wish to see in the world.
Exactly.
Good,
What about GA?
good quote on Gandhi there, absolutely. I agree 100%, and what I would tell, passion is obviously the first kind of the barrier to get through the door and come to a meeting, but I would certainly also advise them to have the commitment, showing up to a meeting once or twice, putting in your 2 cents and then not coming back. That probably won't serve what you intend or what might best serve the whole district, the whole kid. So it's easy to want to advocate for your child's individual needs. I understand that as a mother of a gifted student myself, but we really have to look at the whole picture. What will benefit the district and all those kids as a whole, and then to have that commitment. And when you become a member, you come regularly, you speak your mind, with as much passion as you originally started with.
Right. Well, thank you both for coming on the show today to talk about GIAC and SEAC. And hopefully some folks will watch this show and go online and apply and come. So thank you both.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. We're continuing our conversation about school board advisory councils. And with us today is Dr. Elsie Harrell-Lands. She's Executive Director of Student Support Services. And Kenyatta Goshen. She's the Senior Director for Career and Technical Education. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, at the beginning of our show, we had Dr. Gabriel to come on and tell us what a school board advisory council is. And you all are in charge of 2 of our advisory councils. So I'm going to start with you first, Kenyatta. Tell me the name of your advisory committee and what you're working with them and what purpose of that advisory council.
Our particular council is the Career and Technical Education Advisory Committee. They are a group of individuals who come together with passion and commitment for advising, guiding, advocating, and supporting career and technical education throughout the division as we work to ensure a successful college and career readiness journey for each and every student.
Yes, and Elsie, what's your committee?
Ours is the School Health Advisory Committee, and we call it the SHAC. And the committee is comprised of members of staff from Norfolk Public Schools, as well as community members who have a great interest in the health and wellness of our students.
Right. So, Kenyatta, what's your role with this advisory committee?
I have the wonderful opportunity of serving as what you would call a liaison. I work with the advisory and our school division to bring forth various projects and recommendations brought forth. In terms of my official role, I'm an ex officio member, meaning a staff member that serves in a support role of the committee.
And what about you, Elsie?
I also serve as a staff member and a facilitator for the committee, and I do a variety of different things related to policies that we work on, setting up the meeting, providing support to the members of the committee, research, just about anything that the committee needs in support of our students.
So who can serve on your committees? What's the process to join?
Well, our committee is just like all the others, is an application process. And for us in particular, we have specific categories that are required. Our committee is kind of governed with some regulations from the Virginia Administrative Code, but also our funding sources for career and technical education kind of dictates what our committee makeup. There are business and industry personnel, there are community leaders, higher education representatives, teachers, parents, students, and other individuals who come together as one unit to really support what CTE does in the division.
So approximately how many people can serve on that committee?
Right now we have up to 16 individuals because we always try to get a diverse representation, not only demographics, but to really cover all of the career areas and pathways for career and technical education. And with the national CTE model, there are 16 different career clusters, and so we really try to have strong representation from each cluster and pathway.
And for SHAC, as you affectionately call it, what are the requirements and how can they serve?
Our committee also requires an application process, and we look for a variety of diverse members. We have members from Norfolk Public Schools who work in areas that are closely related to school health and wellness, from athletics. We have principals who are members of the committee, our school nursing coordinator, as well as staff members who work with mental health and related areas within the school district, and also have members from the community who have a health background, health research, physicians, and other related areas.
So how many folks are on your committee and what's your term limits?
We typically have 20 members and also have 2 ex officio members, and members can serve two-year terms, as well as can be renewed for another 2 years, depending on their interest and service on the committee.
And some advisory committees have been around for a while. I think yours 2 or 3 years or what have you. What's some of the feedback or some of the ideas that you all have received from the folks serving on these committees that you've been able to bring forth and possibly implement through Norfolk Public Schools?
With our committee in particular, they work with us on the development, implementation, and evaluation of new and exciting CTE programs. Some of the things they've helped us to bring forward is the Business and IT Academy, bringing on board cybersecurity programs and courses for all of our high schools, and now moving down into middle school. As we work forward for career and technical education, high school, or a different format, they are right there at the table serving as champions. Our folks come into the classroom, so it's not just a meeting every other month. They serve as guest teachers, they serve as speakers. They come in and they work with work-based learning, they do walkthrough of the classroom, they do professional development for our teachers. So it's really a comprehensive opportunity for individuals to get involved with our school divisions, our teachers, and our students.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. They're really hands-on and
yes,
involved.
Yes, they are. They are very active.
Right, so what about for your organization?
As our committee does a variety of different things. They offer different suggestions about topics that are relevant and in need in our school district. Typically, the conversations during the meetings are about what types of policies, what types of support do students need within our school district. And there's some areas that we have spent a considerable amount of time on since the committee has been formed, particularly our school wellness policy. We've also worked a lot on suicide prevention and postvention, and the school board approved that policy as well. We talk about a variety of different topics that are specifically related to school health and wellness. And over time, we look at current research as well as look at if there are new things that are coming into play in school districts. We also try to make sure that we do research and determine what the needs are and how those best fit our committee and our students.
So ultimately, what are you hoping to accomplish with these advisory committees?
For us, it's continued growth and expansion of rigorous and relevant CTE and other instructional programming for our division. As previously stated, we are focused on ensuring a very successful college, career, and citizen and civic readiness for our children. And having our advisory committee on board, helping to guide in collaboration with our division, is a win-win situation for all. Just expanding what is offered for our students, preparing them not only for what's now, but what is next in life.
That's great.
And for our committee, we understand absolutely that the health and wellness of students is priority, and that in order for students to be successful in school, they must first be ready and be healthy and be well. So While that sounds like such a simple task, it is a very important responsibility, and the committee members are available and do the work that's necessary to ensure that we can provide the supports for our children to make sure that they're prepared for school and beyond.
So what have you all learned from serving and having these advisory committees?
That everyone's opinion, expertise is of value. We have 16 champions who are committed to what we're doing, but it does not stop with those 16, because they are able to reach out and network with other individuals who come on board to serve on subcommittees, and that also brings more resources into our school division. Collaboration is key, whether it's with business industry, higher education, parents and students. Coming together to do what's right for children is the most important thing, and learning to see things from a different perspective. As an educator, you get to see it from the traditional way of how we do things, but also the cutting edge way of how to do things. But when you're bringing a business perspective into play or community perspective, it opens up more things and more opportunities for our children.
Right. What have you learned, Elsie?
I would say that we have the opportunity to see the passion both within the district and within the community, and to see how all of the different opinions and perspectives, how those play into what our students need. And so the passion is amazing, and people are very serious and very interested in providing support for our students. And again, they are focused most on making sure that students are well prepared and actually well in terms of their being, and that they are healthy.
What would you tell a potential advisory committee member who may be interested in joining, why they should join?
I think serving the school division in whatever capacity is that is best for the school division and for the individual is very important. And often folks believe, oh, I'm not an educator, I can't be involved. That is not true. You can be involved. Everyone brings something to the table that will help grow what we're doing for our children. So if you even have an inkling of wanting to be involved, I would say go for it. We need you, and you are more than welcome to join us.
Please say ditto to that.
Absolutely, yes, I feel the same. I mean, we welcome the expertise and passion and experience of people across the community, and their ideas and guidance can only help enhance what we have in place already and what we continue to work and strive for each day for our children.
Well, thank you both for coming on the show today, and I'm hoping that viewers have watched these episodes, these segments, and say, hey, I think I want to join these organizations, and go to our website at www.npsk12.com, the school board link, and click on School Board Advisory Committees. So thank you both for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS, Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or events happening at your school, please be sure to email us at npsnews@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.